The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, Lord. It happened that there was a man full of leprosy in one of the towns where Jesus was. And when he saw Jesus, he fell prostrate, pleaded with him, and said, "Lord, if you wish, you can make me clean." Jesus stretched out his hand, touched him, and said, "I do will it. Be made clean." And the leprosy left him immediately. Then he ordered him not to tell anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing what Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them. The report about him spread all the more, and great crowds assembled to listen to him and be cured of their ailments. But he would withdraw to the desert places to pray. The Gospel of the Lord. Now, when something good happens to us, what do we usually do? Do we keep it to ourselves, or do we share it with others? Usually there's a great temptation, particularly in our social media environment, to share it with others, to post a picture, maybe at the very least to text somebody like, "Hey, I got a good report at the doctor," or "I got a good grade on my test," or "We won the game," or "I got a surprise" in the mail, if people still mail things. And so there is this, we all often have this temptation to want to share our good news, right? And we can think right now in our COVID environment, we can see pictures of people being released from the hospital after they've overcome their bout of COVID-19. But we also know that there's many people out there struggling. And this is in some ways where we find this leper today in Jesus' context. Many people had leprosy. Many people died from it. But here's this one man who wants to be cured from it. And so he reaches out to Jesus. And what does he say? He says, "I want you to make me clean." And Jesus says, "Be made clean." And this great thing happens, right? He's made whole. He's restored. And even though Jesus tells him not to share it with anyone, just like us, when something good happens to us, we can imagine this man who struggled with leprosy like, "I can't keep this good news to myself. I have to share it with others." And so he goes and shares it with others. And we hear that this is part of the reason big crowds start to follow Jesus. And another beautiful thing happens. They, we hear, are cured of their ailments as well. And the same can happen for us, my brothers and sisters. We know that we have sins, and these sins make us, quote unquote, unclean. But just as we did at the beginning of this Mass during the penitential act, or through the sacrament of reconciliation, we can go to Jesus and be made clean, be forgiven for our sins. And what do we do with this good news? Do we keep it to ourselves, or do we share it with others? Do we put it in that same category of all those other good things that we want to brag and boast about and share and post? Or do we just kind of, "Oh yeah, that happened, and yeah, I feel better, I feel much better, but I keep it to myself, I don't want to say anything"? And I think we can see an example from the leper today, that just like those other examples of good news, this is something that we should share as well. Because we know there are a lot of people out there who are struggling with the shame and guilt of sin, who want to be made clean, who want to be made whole. And we can share the good news of Jesus' mercy, compassion, and forgiveness. So like us, they can come to the sacraments and receive that forgiveness, that healing, be made whole. And so my brothers and sisters, let's share the good news of Jesus' mercy, compassion, forgiveness, healing, so that his news will be spread and others like us can be made whole, be forgiven, be made clean.